My taxpayer money is subsidizing this.
Yep.
The parents are paying money. It seems to me like the last people who should have a say in this are the faculty and staff.
Well, shared governance is a higher ed term, so that means that we're sharing the governance of the university with the faculty. And there are some amazing faculty at CU in the system, and they absolutely want the right things. There's also some a vocal minority that runs a lot of the show, right? And
how do you mean, he asks?
Well, why is our president not there any longer after 2 years? Why did we have to pay him a large sum of money to get him out before his contract was gone?
Because a small minority of faculty members
were after him. It was led by a group of faculty.
How many? I am a proud survivor of the University of Colorado at Boulder. And they keep sending me these fundraising letters, to give to their foundation, to be a proud alumni. I always think, why would I give money to this socialist indoctrination camp and to understand exactly why I should? Regent at Large, Heidi Ganahl. Thank you for being here.
Hello, John.
I didn't know that we were only a year apart at CU.
I know. That's shocking to me. I'm sure we ran into each other at some point. Probably
not.
Yeah.
No, you probably hung out with the respectable people.
No, I did not.
Did.
Thank God we didn't have social media back then, though. That's all I have to say.
You were hanging out with the quarterback of the football team. Yeah, you were. Yeah, you were.
No.
Were you president of the student council or?
No, I was head of PR for Panhellenic of all things, and then I was pretty involved with the business school.
Remind me what Panhellenic is?
Sororities.
You were a sorority girl?
I was.
Of course you were. Now it all makes sense. Everything falls into place now.
But I was the sorority girl that was kind of the anti-sorority girl. So I was always kind of bucking the trends.
I'm not even going to go down that road because no good will come from it. The educational experience for me was you're living in this bubble. You're living with people who are going through the same thing, and it's the social experiment of before you're an adult, you get to do this stupidity, and you live on your own, and you do this, because a liberal arts degree you could just get online now for a fraction of the price, and I've been waiting and waiting and waiting for this higher ed bubble to burst. It just makes no sense that you're going to spend $150 grand so you can get your degree in sociology. That's insane. And so I really hoped that this bubble would have burst before my kid went to college. It didn't.
Get your checkbook out.
Yeah, tell me about it. So from your point of view, do you see a consumer bubble? I mean, it's not worth the price.
Absolutely, I do. As I travel around, whether it's the country or the state of Colorado, parents are fed up. I mean, students are too. They're like, why would I do this? So I see more students and more families making the decision to send their kids to community college, junior college, or doing a really cool online program, whether it's coding or we have these really neat things called digital badges that are taking off. I think it's the future of higher education.
What is a digital badge?
So think of Boy Scout badges. You get little earn badges in certain things. So now you look at the LinkedIn profile and you have digital badges. So you can get a digital badge in leadership or one in coding or one in building websites. Then as an employer, you can go through and search by digital badges or a combination of such to find the right employee instead of just looking at a resume. It's pretty cool. And you put them in what's called a digital backpack. That's like your resume. And
who awards them?
So that's kind of the neat thing that I like about it is it's like a free market. I mean, you can create a digital badge. There are colleges that do that, but there's no official accreditation yet. So it's kind of the wild west. Yeah. And so think if a student...
Because the market will know that a digital badge from the Colorado School of Coding is different than the coding badge by Jon Caldara. One will be valuable, one will not be valuable.
Well, and what if we had like a Yelp system where students could evaluate the courses, but also employers could evaluate the courses, and then you've got both ends, right? And so the top will rise, and then the best coding badge you can get is this badge because it's rated by both sides.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for the disruption. I'm waiting for the disruption. And when I said that CU is a socialist factory, it is, and it hasn't changed. It has only gotten worse. And I live in Boulder. I see it. You deal with it as a regent. And I look at these people, let's put up a building for the school. I'm thinking, no, not. I mean, think about the Center for the Study of Western Civilization. I'm trying to remember what it was called.
The Benson Center now.
Oh, the Benson Center.
Yep.
So Bruce Benson had to go fundraise, and private citizens had to raise money in order to hire one free market professor to be there as the token. That's just insulting. My kid won't get a diverse education there. They get indoctrinated. Disagree with me, please.
Well, I mean, I'm on the front lines, and I hear all the stories about what's happening in the classrooms, and it's terrible. I mean, it's not okay. I want students to hear both sides of an issue. The best solutions come from the problems when you look at it from both ends, right? You meet somewhere in the middle. And the scariest thing for me is that I hear most of the bullying that's done in the classroom is not done by the faculty. Actually, it's done by the other students. I mean, students are getting shouted down. I have a student that is a conservative student at CU Boulder that got kicked out of her sorority because she liked a tweet, didn't even tweet it out, just liked a tweet that was calling the virus the China virus. Got kicked out of her sorority for that. Now, that's not necessarily a conservative thing, but that's an example.
No, what it is the group that says we want inclusion and diversity and tolerance are the most intolerant, least diverse people there are. And not only do they teach the classes, now they're pressuring each other in the school.
Yeah, I tell the example of when our President Mark Kennedy, who was just fired, or technically resigned, but he was
pushed out.
Yeah, pushed out. Was doing his 14-day forums where he went around the state before we could officially hire him. There was this window, and we're up at CU Boulder in Mackey Auditorium, and there were about 1,000 people there. He walks up on stage and just gets booed, spit on, yelled at, screamed at, and just people were acting terribly towards him because he was a previously elected Republican congressman. I mean, it really, I think, comes down to that. And
what an embarrassment.
Well, this is the worst part, John. This gal raises her hand in the audience, and I know her, and I'm watching, and she goes, "Hi, everyone. I want to just say, Mark, I understand what you're going through. I'm a conservative student at CU Boulder," and I get this reaction a lot. The audience booed her out of the place. She had to have security take her out at the end of it.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So not only is it intolerant, not only is it a lack of diversity, there's actually a physical threat to having an ideology that is not progressive on college campuses.
In some instances, yes. I think there's some great organizations working on this. There's Speech First. There's FIRE. ACTA is a group that I'm on the board with Senator Hank Brown of the American Council for Trustees and Alumni. And we're doing everything we can to be in the trenches and push back on this stuff, but...
You know what's so amazing? You and I went to school at the same time. I think we dated for a while. There was a feeling back there that, it was the tail end of that 70s, I defend your right to say it movement. The ACLU sticking up for neo-Nazis in Skokie, Illinois. Everybody has a right to be heard, to have free speech. And now the cancel culture is so awful on college campuses. A conservative kid needs to be escorted by security for her own safety. That's how bad the system is. And by the way, it costs too much. Why does it cost so much? My daughter's looking at all these different colleges. Yeah. She's going out of state, and she said, "Oh no, it would be much more expensive to go to CU. We live in Boulder, and it would be more expensive to go to CU." Why is that?
That's why my daughter ended up at Oregon. I mean, literally one of the reasons, but they provide institutional aid, which is basically just a discount or a coupon to get the kids to go to the out-of-state place. And in-state tuition at CU Boulder is very expensive. It's $38,000, $40,000 a year, and yeah, it's
$120,000.
That's all in with room and board and everything.
But
all your fees.
$120,000 to learn how to be a progressive.
Well, and here's the problem, though.
Bernie will teach you it for free.
Most of the kids don't graduate in 4 years either. The 4-year graduation rate is not good. And
what is it, do you think?
I think it's in the 40s.
Wow.
40%. So I think that's, let's see, that's national. I think Boulder's a little bit better. But overall, nationally, 46% of students graduate in 4 years. So that means that they're going to school for 5 or 6 years, or they're dropping out and ending up with a lot of debt without a college degree. Now, if you get a degree and you do it in 4 years and you keep it on the conservative side on the money, then it's a very good value. And you usually make about $1 million more over your lifetime.
Doesn't it depend on what kind of degree you have?
Yeah, it does.
I mean, you had a business degree. I have a liberal arts degree. You went on to have a successful business and become a millionaire. and I'm still going through trash cans to get food.
No, you're
so there's a
changing lives,
difference.
Jon.
There's a difference there. And so I wonder when kids make a decision I'm going to study this. That's great, but there doesn't seem to be a cost-benefit analysis. If you're going to go to your engineering degree and it's going to cost you $40,000 a year, but you're going to leave with a $100,000 a year job right out, that makes sense.
Yes.
Or if you're going to do that $40,000 a year and you're going to flip burgers after your graduation, maybe it doesn't.
Yeah, that's absolutely something you have to look at. I mean, I tell parents the way to reduce the cost of college or get the most value out of it is A, take as many college credits as you can in high school, whether it's AP, concurrent enrollment, they call it by lots of different names. Now you can do a lot of it online. And then if you don't know what you want to do, if you're not absolutely sure what you want to do, go to junior college or community college for a year, get your general credits out of the way. They should transfer in Colorado.
They should.
They should. And then don't change your degree once you get there because that costs a lot of money. Make sure your classes are available and then get a degree in a field where you know pretty well that there's going to be a job and a good paying job after you graduate.
Now, some kids go to school and they get a good liberal arts education, a good liberal education, in the true sense of liberal education. And that's a good grounding. It makes people better people. It's good to know.
Teaches them how to think, not what to think, as we like to say.
If you do it right, and also teaches them some of the standards throughout the millennia. You know, here's why this art is considered art, and here's these classics, why we all talk about them. All right, that's good stuff. I wonder if people our generation put too much emphasis on the campus experience. Now, you can get, I think it's at Stanford or some other school, you can go online and get your full 4-year degree for like $8,000. You know, it's just you can.
Not Stanford.
It might be actually.
Really?
Yeah.
I haven't heard that.
All right, it's been a couple years, but something like that. A reputable, great school, but you're basically just watching the old tapes.
Yeah.
But parents don't want that. We want them to go away and have the dorm experience and even go to a sorority, I guess, and you know to have that because that seems to be the education. Is there a way to meld those two? In other words, that you can still go out and have that wild experience that you'll be talking about for the rest of your life, and not, you know, I bet we could do it for half the price if we just got rid of the education part. We ought to just have a camp, a 4-year camp that they can go to.
Well, there is an arms race among colleges to see who has the nicest facilities, the nicest dining rooms, the nicest dorms. And it's expensive.
My daughter calls it the resortification.
Yeah.
Because this school has a lazy river. Yep. Well, this school has 8 different dining halls with these type of themes. And look at this new dorm. It's like a Broadmoor, you know. And so that's not education.
No, but you're right. I mean, you're having to choose whether you want your student to have an experience or whether you want them to get a degree. And there are a lot of different ways you can get a degree without living on campus and doing the typical 4-year degree program. And I am worried that it's going to become the haves and the have-nots get to have that, right? Because it's so expensive. And a lot of parents are wising up, like, you don't need that. You're not going to get, I'm not going to pay $120,000 for you to have that. Or you can go there for a year or two and then transfer or go there later if you want to do it.
You've been a Regent. You've seen it up close. Why can't we fix it? What is it that CU is run by the faculty? That the faculty, not the regents, run that institution. And I think about it, and for the last, 20 years or so, it has been a Republican majority on this elected regent board, and most states don't have elected trustees or regents. then why in the world is this such a socialist factory if you have Republicans running it?
Well, we don't run it anymore. We lost, or we aren't in the majority anymore. We have, obviously we're part of running the institution, but we lost the board majority last fall. Before that, we did do a lot of good things. We got tuition held flat. We got free speech, or we got rid of safe spaces on the college campus, and we put civics back into the curriculum. So we chip away at it where we can, right? But it's shared governance, and you're right.
What do you mean shared governance?
So the shared governance.
I elected you. My taxpayer money is subsidizing this. Yep. The parents are paying money. It seems to me like the last people who should have a say in this are the faculty and staff.
Well, shared governance is a higher ed term, so that means that we're sharing the governance of the university with the faculty. And there are some amazing faculty at CU in the system, and they absolutely want the right things. There's also some a vocal minority that runs a lot of the show, right? And
how do you mean, he asks?
Well, why is our president not there any longer after 2 years? Why did we have to pay him a large sum of money to get him out before his contract was gone?
Because it was a small minority of faculty members
were after him. It was led by a group of faculty.
How many?
I mean, that actually led the movement.
Why don't you just fire them?
You can't fire them for leading a movement to try and oust the president. If they do something. If they do particular things, they can be fired.
No, they can't.
Actually,
when was the last time? I mean, how many members on faculty?
Gosh, I don't know the latest numbers, but
all right, let me try it this way. You created Camp Bow Wow, wonderful, American success story. How many people did you fire over your years?
A few.
A few?
Yeah, quite a few.
Quite a few?
Yeah.
We're talking double digits at least?
I mean, I probably employed, system-wide, we had thousands of employees. At corporate, maybe, several hundred, yeah.
Right. So, have you fired more people in that much smaller organization than CU has fired from there?
Your point is correct.
In the
it's
private
very
sector,
difficult.
you can fire bad employees.
And it's more like, it's unfortunate that we can't be aligned in what the goals are, right? Because the goals are to give our students a good education and get them out into the world successfully.
I disagree, but go ahead.
What do you think it is?
I believe, and I as a survivor of CU, I see the indoctrination. I see the indoctrination in the classroom, and it's because it is so overrun by progressives. It's kind of like what I see in the media, in that they don't see it because they're surrounded, they're in a bubble, they don't see it. Talk to any reporter about the leftist views of the press, why the press is so biased. No, we're not biased. We're so professional, we wash out the bias.
Yeah.
They don't. It's like talking to an alcoholic. They won't see it, but.
Well, that's
true.
I mean, one of the issues since I've been Regent is, hey, I hang out with a lot of kids that feel really uncomfortable with what's happening at CU. No, that's not true. We did a survey. It's not true. And I'm like, it is true. I talk to them. I help them. Navigate things here. They don't want to see it or believe it. They think that it's not a problem. And it is a problem. It's a big problem. And again, if we don't teach our students how to look at both sides of an issue and how to navigate the real world out there, which there are a lot of competing ideas coming at them, that's not going to serve them well.
Right, so your time on the Regents, I'm talking about 20, 25 years of Republican control. It's still what you see. What needs to happen to fix it?
Parents need to be more careful about where they send their students.
There are not that many choices.
Oh.
And that,
for four-year, I get what you're saying for public universities, et cetera.
Public universities are.
There's so many other options now, though, John, with, there's amazing entrepreneurs out there rebuilding education and coming up with really cool ideas about how to learn something or how to get a degree or a certificate or a digital badge instead of just going to the typical, going the typical route.
Am I just hearing a Regent say, don't bring your kid to see you?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying be very specific about what your student wants to do, what they want to learn, what job they want to have. Evaluate the program to make sure it's the right fit for your student, and then make sure it's a good value, that it's not too expensive or outrageous, and that the end game is that they get a great job, then that's okay. Like to your point, engineering, we have a great engineering program at CU.
CU's engineering, astrophysics is incredible. The engineering school is terrific.
We have a great nursing program at CU Denver. I mean, CU Anschutz Medical School is outstanding.
Yeah.
So there are some bright lights in our system. Josh Dunn down at UCCS, the head of political science, is fantastic. So the poli-sci department, believe it or not, at UCCS, Sarah Hagedorn is down there. It's great.
Okay. But my tax money is still going, I guess I'm focusing in on this liberal arts experience and just how, I'll say it, how hateful it is to any sort of ideological diversity, because the university doesn't hire for ideological diversity.
Right.
In fact, you want some ideological diversity, you got to raise your own money to bring one in. And he got fired too. He got kicked out and canceled as well because he said something.
He didn't get fired. He just got his responsibilities taken away. Yeah.
Got his responsibilities taken away, along with his pay. Actually, got to keep his pay.
He got to keep his pay.
Oh, that's a good thing. But the point being, isn't there something from a governmental policy point of view that Colorado should do?
Oh, that's a toughie. I mean, I think it goes to how faculty are brought on and hired in higher ed, and it's they work up through the ranks, right? So we need to promote more young conservatives or different ideologies to stay with the PhD programs and to be mentored and to stay with it, because that's where they drop off. Does that make sense? So if you wanted to have a more diverse ideologically faculty, you've got to have more students that are willing to get their PhDs, stay, do the research, and really gut it out in the system.
So it's self-selecting.
Yeah.
And also, I mean, the late, great Dick Lamb, who I was honored to be befriended by, I would speak at his class at DU pretty often. And he would always say, because, John, I am a fanatic about balance in my classroom, which was his way of saying, John, you are so wrong. Please come in and make me seem right. But he had a real sensitivity to that. Mm-hmm. But that's kind of old school. I don't think Ward Churchill and those folks have that. I don't think they see it. I just don't think they see it. They
truly believe that what they're teaching is the best thing for our country and for those students. And, that's what worries me, is that there's this sense of like what I'm teaching is the right thing, or what I'm learning as a student is the right thing.
And I know so many kids who say, hey, I know to tell the professor what he wants to hear because I need the grade.
Right. That's what I hear all the time.
And what a shame. Mm-hmm. Instead of having a class where you are actually pushing back and getting these deep conversations and learning argumentation, real argumentation, not
having
fighting.
A competition of ideas.
Yeah. So, all right, we talked about Colorado. Take it to the national level. Yeah. There's talk now of forgiving loan debt. As my kids go into college, they're like, well, maybe we should get loans so you can get it forgiven.
You're not the only one probably thinking that. And forgiven, they're not forgiven. The taxpayers are paying for it. We're all going to pay for it, right?
So nationalize it. Yeah. So is it a good idea or a bad idea?
I don't think it's a good idea at all. Like, I mean, what does it do to the value of a college degree if it's free?
Well, public schools are free. Aren't there values?
How's that working for us?
All right, so let's get to this part. It is one thing that your kid can go to the University of Oregon because you are a successful businessman and you are able to make money and you can do it. There are other kids who don't have that ability. Mm-hmm. This is why I love the loan program. I think the loan program is a good thing to help people who don't have rich parents.
It is.
And is it unfair, though, that your kid might not have to pay it back, but this other kid does?
Right. And how's that?
Just part of your white privilege?
Well, I don't think the loan repayment program just applies to one race, as far as I know. But I think the bigger issue is all those folks, all those kids that have worked really hard to pay off their student loans over years. And now, boom, just gone. I don't know. That doesn't sit right.
No, it doesn't sit right. And also, it also is an incentive to take more basket weaving classes.
Right.
You were talking about choosing the right degree, the right badge.
Right.
That this is something that has value afterwards. Well, if I don't have to pay for it, I might as well go take the liberal arts classes, and that'll be fun, and get indoctrinated there, and then I'll worry about a job later because it's free.
I mean, it feels like it's 4 more years of high school, really, is what they're trying to do. And I want our kids to become passionate about something, be able to go somewhere, learn how to be better at whatever it is, or learn how to do. Like, if one of my kids wants to be a baker, they're going to go to baking school, and then they're going to open a bakery, hopefully, or work for somebody who has a bakery. If they want to be an engineer, they know that this is a great school for engineering. They're going to find the best school with the best value. So it might be expensive, but if you graduate from that school, you make a lot more money, you get a lot more accolades to work on projects that you want to work on. So it's really a matter of making sure that our children have access to opportunity to do what they want to do when they get older.
All right. Are you ready for my entrepreneurial idea?
Yes.
All right. Because you're the type of person who's going to actually execute something like this. Here's the problem. The problem is school's too expensive. You could do it online for a fraction of the cost, but your kids don't get the 4-year experience. So an entrepreneur someplace should buy up an old campus, full campus, with the gym and the student center and all the things that, maybe even the Greek buildings. And every kid that goes there is actually just going to a different school online. So you still have dorms. You still have the college hangouts, you're still meeting with your roommates, but then during the day, you all go into different places because I might be going to CEU, you might be going to Harvard, you might be but there's no reason to be there. So you can have the college experience, go to a different college, and still hit on the girl on your dorm floor. So I know nothing about anything, but it's like, somebody needs to build this.
I think it's a viable idea. I think it might be happening more often than you think.
Think so?
Yeah, I mean, if you are at a college and you can get done in 2 years by taking additional credits or, classes online, why wouldn't you do that?
All right. What was the best part of college for you?
Oh, gosh.
Forget that. Yeah. What was the stupidest thing you did in college?
I just didn't take it as seriously as I wish I would have. Like, I didn't learn what I could have learned if I had really focused on, and I didn't know what I wanted to do really, so that was part of the difficulty. But, I loved the professors that were super real life, like they were actually did the job in real life and then came to teach, or they had started a business and then they had us do a project and it was just seeped in like reality. That was the stuff that I loved.
Yeah, that's a wonderful answer to a question I didn't ask. What was the stupidest thing you did in college?
Oh my goodness, John, I don't remember.
Oh,
we don't have social media to go back and look and see.
All right, I'm just going to take that as you did lots of stupid things in college.
I had a good time.
Hey, thank you for being with us. I appreciate
it. Thanks for having me,
soon.
John. Go Buffs.
If you enjoyed that conversation, by all means, click one of these other great programs. We have the best conversations with the most fascinating Coloradans. And subscribe to our channel. Just click down below and hit that little bell button too. You don't want to miss a single show.